Good morning, dear students. So, dear students, today we shall move on to next chapter in the second semester, that is transportation in animals and plants. That means how the transportation takes place in animals and plants. So, first point we are going to study what are the points that comes under in this chapter. That means what we are going to learn in this chapter. So first is in that is what are the topics to be covered in this chapter. What are the topics to be covered in this chapter means, so first one is transportation in animals. That means how the transportation takes place in animals. Next, circulatory system in humans. How the circulatory system in humans and how they work. And next, excretory system in humans. Excretory system in humans. And next, transportation in plants. And last one is transpiration. These are the topics to be covered in this chapter. That is transportation in animals, circulatory system in humans, excretory system in humans, and transportation in plants, and last one is transpiration. These topics to be covered in this chapter, and also these are very important for your next classes, that is next higher classes. Okay, so we shall move on to first one by one. First one, introduction, that is transpiration in animals. So in this chapter, transportation in plants and animals, what do you mean by transportation in generally? That means the transportation means supplying of or transporting goods or carrying goods from one place to the another place. That is called transport in general. That is in general transport, meaning of transport. That means we are carrying out things or some goods from one place to the another place where the required. That is called transport in general. But in human beings or in humans, what do you mean by transport? That is very simple. Internal transport in animals is facilitated by circulatory system. Here, very simple. Transport means in human body, that is transporting or transport of blood from or to the different parts of the body, or carrying energy from one part to the another part of the body, and also circulating blood or carrying oxygen, or giving out or breathe out carbon dioxide, that from entire part of the body. Like this, different transpiration takes place in our body. What are the internal transport? That is what are the transportation takes in our body means. So here I give one by one. So here internal transport in animals is facilitated by circulatory system. So transport will be takes place internal body, that is by means of transport of by means of circulatory system. Circulatory system is, that means through the blood vessels. That is transport of oxygen. In internal transport takes place is transport of oxygen. That means oxygen will be transported to the different parts of the body. And also water, that is transport of water. Next, transport of food, hormones, etc. to different parts of the body. That means from one part to the different parts of the body, that will be transport through the circulatory system. That is will happens only in inside the body. That's what, that is internal transport in animals. That is internal transport in animals is facilitated by circulatory system. Through the circulatory system, all this oxygen, water, food, and also hormone section, that will be takes place through the circulatory system, which is in internal transport in animals. So for that question, how transport takes place? Okay sir, through the circulatory system transport will be takes place. But how? And circulatory disorders. What are the circulatory disorders? That means if there is no transport of food, water, or something from one place to another place through the circulatory system, what will be happens? Who transport throughout the body? Who will transport throughout the body through the circulatory system? For example, in general, transporting of goods from one place to another place, that will be takes place by lorries, by like vehicles, through the drivers. But in our body, inside the body, who transport throughout the body? That is blood. Blood will transport food, water, oxygen and hormones throughout the body through the circulatory system. Blood will transport water, food and so on throughout the body through the circulatory system. For this question, how transport takes place, means transport takes place through the blood vessels, and who transport throughout the body, means blood will transport throughout the body. So we shall discuss today class, we shall discuss how the transportation takes place in blood and concept of blood. See here, blood in circulatory system, in generally the goods will be takes place from one place to the another place with the help of one medium, that is one vehicle. Like that, in the circulatory system, this is, for example, this is circulatory system. Food will be transported from A to B, means with the help of blood. This one, with the help of blood, the transport of food, water and also energy will be transport takes place. So, and this blood is fluid connective tissue. Blood is fluid and it connects from one part to another part of the bodies. This blood contains 78% of water and 22% of solids. In the blood, the total contains 78% of water and 22% of solids. So blood, it is a circulatory medium, that means it transport necessary things from one part to the another part of the body, and this blood is fluid connective tissue. In general, blood is fluid and it connect the different parts of the body, that's why it is called fluid connective tissue. And in this blood, the component of blood is 78% of water and 22% of solid. So totally that's become 100%. Here, so okay sir, so blood is a circulatory medium. It circulates oxygen, water, food and so on throughout the body through the circulatory system, and this blood is a fluid connective tissue, and this blood contains totally 78% of water and 22% of solids. What is the work of this one? So it connects different system of body by transporting gases, digested food, hormones and waste materials to different body part. It just connects different system of body by transporting like that. What do you mean? By transporting gases, by transporting digested food, hormones and by transporting waste materials to different parts of the body. That means that will transport from one part of the body to the different parts of the body through the circulatory system or circulatory medium. That is the work of the blood or function of the blood. That means that transport, that blood will be transport different gases, food, oxygen, hormones and waste material to the different parts of the body. That's why blood is called circulatory medium or transporting medium inside the human body or inside animals. See here, this is okay and this one is already told, and in this picture it contains two color. One is red, one will be there, another one is bluish in color. One is red in color, another one is bluish in color. So in these two, what is reddish in color? These two are a circulatory system. So this reddish color indicates that this carries the oxygenated, this is oxygenated blood. That means oxygen will be carried through this, and this is what we are taking inside oxygen, that will be transported to the different parts of the body through this red color circulatory system, blood vessels, and this blue color indicates that this is carbon dioxide what we have exhale, that is the that will be takes place in this one. That means there is a two ways, one way will be entering, another way will be coming outside. So entering will be oxygen that takes place through the uh, oxygenated blood system, and this one blue indicates that in this one carbon dioxide will be comes out. That is what is the waste gases that will be comes out. So in this our animals body or in human bodies, they have two-way system, not one way. So one way will be entering of the bodies, another way will be coming outside from the bodies. Waste water will be there, that will be come outside from the body. Next, it's very important, composition of blood. What are the composition of blood? That means what are the components of blood? What blood contains? Blood is red in color, but what that contains? We have to study that one. So what blood contain means here components of blood. So after centrifugation, this blood is divided into three parts. Up to this one is first part, and this empty space, this is second part, white color will be there, and this one is third part. Okay, from ear to ear, first part, this first part is called as plasma, and second part that contains WBC and platelets, and last part contains red blood cells, RBC. See here, components of bloods are plasma, RBC, red blood cells, white blood cells, this is white blood cells, and platelets. Here also will be there platelets and WBC, white blood cells. See here in this one, these are all this percentage year from year to year, this is called as platelets. So this is called as plasma. This is 55% above 100%, and this WBC and platelets, this is only 1% will be there, and remaining will be the RBC, red blood cells. This is 45%. So the components of blood, if they ask in your exam what are the components of blood, you should write red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and also plasma. Red blood cells are also called as erythrocytes. White blood cells, WBCs, are also called leukocytes, and also platelets is also called thrombocytes. So these are the components of blood. Don't forget this one. So in this one we are going to study one by one. So we are going to study one by one. That means first we are going to study very important concept, that is red blood cells. That is red blood cells. So red blood cells, most abundant cells in blood. In the blood, this red blood cells, RBC, is most abundant in cell in body. These RBC cells are most abundant. That is maximum number of percentage of RBC will be abundant. So 5 million RBC are present per microliter of blood. If you take per microliter of blood, you get 5 million RBC. That means 5 million red blood cells. And these red blood cells are small cells without nucleus. These red blood cells are small cells, and it's very small cells but without nucleus. In general, cells have nucleus, but this red blood cells doesn't have any nucleus. And function of this red blood cells, it carry oxygen from lungs to different parts of body. So RBC carries oxygen from lungs to different parts of the body, and it contains the respiratory pigment hemoglobin, which has affinity for oxygen. See, due to the presence of this hemoglobin, the blood in red in color. If they will ask in the exam why the blood is red in color, you should write due to the presence of hemoglobin, the blood is red in color. Per 100 ml, 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin will be there. Per 100 ml, 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin will be there. So these are the concept of blood. So bloods are most abundant cells in blood, and 5 million RBC, red blood cells, are present per microliter of blood, and small cell without nucleus. These red blood cells are small cells, they doesn't have any nucleus, and these red blood cells carry oxygen from lungs to different parts of body. and these cells carries oxygen from lungs to different parts of the body, and also it carry carbon dioxide from different parts of the body to the heart, and that will be come outside from the in the form of carbon dioxide. And this red blood cells contains, due to the presence in the red blood cells, due to the presence of one pigment, the name of that pigment is hemoglobin. The blood is red in color, that is hemoglobin. Very important. They will ask 1 marks for the fill in the blanks. And dear student, this is the introduction for this class. So in this one you should learn, or you should point out important points. Those are very useful for your exam. Which are the points? First one is components of blood. First one is components of blood. What are the components of blood? So components of blood means red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets and plasma. This is the first question. It's very important for your examination. First is components of blood. And the next one, blood is called circulatory medium, and this blood contains percentage. That is, what is the percentage of water present in blood means, that is 78% of water will be there and 22% of solids will be there. This is the second question. And the third question is this one. Why the blood is red in color? This is the third question. So for that one, answer is due to the presence of a pigment. The name of that pigment is hemoglobin. The blood is red in color. So today we given only we discussed only red blood cells, and blood is called the circulatory medium because it transport oxygen, water, food to the different parts of the body through the circulatory system. And also components of blood, in that one RBC, WBC, platelets, plasma. In that we are discussed red blood cells. In the next class we are going to discuss WBC, white blood cells. What do you mean by white blood cells, and function of white blood cells, and platelets, the function of platelets, and also next function of heart. These are the 3 points we are going to discuss in the next class. And today's homework is, write down first question. Name the circulatory system in animals. And second question, what are the components of bloods? Third question, why blood is red in color? These are the 3 questions for your homework, and these 3 question answer will be in this class video. So watch carefully and write down the correct answer. Okay, thank you students.